We find ourselves in Omaha, Nebraska, June 2014. The air was thick. It wasn't just the summer heat, it was the anticipation. It had been 42 years since the city had witnessed a world title fight, since the legendary Joe Frazier defended his crown there. But tonight, the prodigal son, Terence "Bud" Crawford, was bringing the belt back home. In front of him was no ordinary opponent. He was facing a man who personified danger, Yuriorkis Gamboa. He wasn't just a boxer, he was the Cyclone of Guantánamo, a Cuban defector who had won Olympic gold in Athens 2004 and possessed hands so fast that the camera could barely capture them. Many hold this fight in their hearts as one of their favorites, as it seems to be the exact point where Crawford stops being an average boxer and becomes one of the favorites. We invite you to grab your preferred snack and enjoy this spectacle. 2. The context. Who was really the favorite? Although Crawford was the defending WBO lightweight champion, opinions were divided. The Gamboa factor. He had a record of 23-0. He came from being a unified featherweight champion and was considered one of the most electrifying boxers on the planet. However, he carried 3 ghosts with him. He was moving up in weight, he was smaller, he had been inactive for a year, and he was fighting in his opponent's backyard. The Crawford factor. At 26 years old and with a record of 23-0, Crawford was the new jewel of American boxing. But many wondered, was he really that good? Or had he only beaten comfortable opponents? Gamboa was the ultimate test. In the betting odds, Crawford was the favorite due to his reach and youth. But in the hearts of boxing purists, Gamboa's speed was an enigma that Terence might not be able to solve. 3. The start of the fight. The speed maze, rounds 1 to 4. The bell rings, and Omaha falls silent. The first 4 rounds were a lesson in Cuban boxing. Round 1, Gamboa showed why they call him the Cyclone. He would enter, land combinations of 3 punches, and exit before Crawford could respond. Gamboa's foot speed was superior. Crawford, visibly frustrated, couldn't find his distance.
Gamboa. Terence Crawford, he could stay out here all night.
I need to make sure I use my reach, and I'm perfectly comfortable fighting around the outside.
It changes the equation.
I expect soon he's going to have to, like this, from this position on.
Round 2. Gamboa's speed continued to be a tough challenge for Crawford, who adopted a more defensive strategy, trying to wear him down. But the truth was that Gamboa's quick punishment was giving him a headache, and Crawford couldn't respond effectively.
Red trim on the trunks of...
A lot of the questions early was how if Gamboa was going to have any ring rust. That showing early, Colonel, I think he's looking okay.
With the height difference that Crawford has, but Gamboa has been fighting taller guys almost as...
Rounds 3 and 4, Terence tried switching to his famous southpaw stance to slow the pace, but Gamboa wasn't intimidated. The Cuban landed a straight right that made Crawford's head snap back. The commentators were in shock. The champion was losing in his own home, and it seemed like he had no plan B. To the viewers, Crawford had already changed his strategy 3 times, and none of them seemed to be working.
Here.
The picture changes. Good right hand.
Light right and then a decent left.
Gamboa's seen a lot of left-handed punches.
Gamboa so far. Terence Crawford in favor of Gamboa, as he does as a right-handed fighter.
4. The turning point. The Master's adjustment, round 5. In Crawford's corner, Brian McIntyre was clear. Stop chasing him. Wait for him. Crawford followed the instruction without hesitation. In the 5th round, the narrative changed forever. Gamboa, confident from his dominance, jumped forward with an aggressive attack. Crawford, staying calm, read him perfectly and unleashed a short right hook. Gamboa, whose legs had always been his weak spot, staggered and touched the canvas. The roar from the CenturyLink Center was deafening. The invincible Cuban was human, and Crawford had just cracked the code.
Good look.
Southpaw, he feels like he has more power with his left.
With the right hand.
Yeah, he's done.
Crawford's face changed completely. He no longer looked worried, but instead wore a relieved expression. He walked to his corner while Gamboa was recovering, knowing he had to seize the moment. 5. Dominance and resilience, rounds 6 to 8. Round 6 and 7. With Gamboa already hurt, Crawford began working the body. CompuBox data shows that Crawford increased his punch accuracy by 40% after the first knockdown. Gamboa was still dangerous, but his precision was fading. It's important to highlight that Crawford didn't rush for the knockout like many would have. He stayed calm and continued to wear him down. Without his speed, Crawford knew he had plenty of opportunities to win the fight.
Ad nauseum, but he made it work for him.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Like Gamboa is throwing caution. Good.
You don't get to be as good as him.
Shorts. So he's dripping water all over the place. Looks like a bathing suit.
It's serious.
Or continues to slip.
So as you pointed out, Colonel, he's been looking down.
Round 8. The fatigue was more noticeable in Gamboa than in Crawford, and there were still 4 rounds left. The tragedy for the Cuban continued. Crawford sent him to the canvas once again with a devastating combination. The crowd was on its feet, cheering Crawford on, as Gamboa's speed and reach advantage had completely vanished.
It's different from when I talk him.
Punch at a time, thing happened, and making something happen, at the very least.
Oh, here's Gamboa in the process of landing some shots. No.
The Cuban got up out of pure pride, his eyes glassy, but he refused to give up. It seemed like the end was near at any moment. However, Gamboa managed to defend himself until the end of the round, but we all knew it would be tough for him to survive the remaining rounds. 6. Round 9. The scare and the verdict. This is the round that defines Crawford's career. Terence came out to finish the fight, but Gamboa, in a final breath of glory, threw a desperate punch. The moment of terror. A right hand from Gamboa landed clean on Crawford's chin. The American staggered. His legs wobbled. For 3 seconds, Omaha held its breath. The favorite was about to fall.
And now Crawford conventionally lands an uppercut.
Crawford looks a little off balance right now.
We'll see if he has the composure.
But Crawford showed his heart. He tied up, regained his breath, and instead of retreating, he counterattacked with full fury. He knocked Gamboa down for the 3rd time in the round with a left hook.
Of Gamboa! He drops him again! That's a hug!
Gamboa got up, but Crawford didn't give him a break. A monstrous right uppercut sent the Cuban to the ropes, and referee Genaro Rodriguez stopped the slaughter.
He keeps battling, falling forward, uppercut, drops him again! It's all over!
A truly cinematic ending, worthy of a sequel to Rocky, where both fighters, still exhausted and battered, stood tall and fought until the very end. 7. The aftermath. The birth of a legend and the decline of another. At the end of the fight, the statistics were clear. Crawford had landed 48% of his power punches, compared to 36% for Gamboa. In the post-fight interview, AEAC, still breathless Crawford said that he always had control. The truth was that Gamboa had pushed him to his absolute limit. What happened afterward? Terence Crawford skyrocketed. This victory put him on the map to become, years later, the first man to be an undisputed champion in 2 different divisions in the 4-belt era. Yuriorkis Gamboa never returned the same. His confidence was shattered that night in Omaha. Although he continued to fight against the elite, the Cyclone lost his destructive power. That June night, we didn't just witness a boxing match. We saw the passing of the torch. The Olympic speed of the old-school Cuban style was surpassed by the adaptive intelligence of the new-school American style. What do you think? Do you believe that if Gamboa hadn't been inactive for a year, the result would have been different? Was this the moment when Crawford proved he had steel chin? Write it in the comments. Give us a like if you're passionate about boxing. And we'll see you in the next Ring War analysis.